working on rap projects too?
Yep, this year.
Rock Priscilla and Preston invited the community to come and help us out. It's been here years for years, but they refurbished it and made the garden look like it was brand new. We had some squash and broccoli over.
I've been talking to a lot of SYEP coordinators so that kids want to get jobs, and then not even just a job, maybe like an internship, a paid internship. One where the workload isn't as heavy, you can get a nice little job with side little money, and build your way up, gain the skills, and move forward. Because too often in the summer, you might get a little nice little job at McDonald's, or, maybe a little construction job, or something like Taco Bell, but you're not developing or thinking, what that means, thinking, for the future and developing yourself. So that's
areas we will have.
Yeah.
Areas and beyond.
Well, for one, everybody knows what grassroots is, right? We mean it from the bottom up. So when it comes to community organizing or community bringing together or outreaching, one of the best ways I feel was I'm trying to get Hope to come back to the Bronx to talk to, because I'm trying to get in touch with this guy from the church for the longest. We have he brought up SYEP, which is a way to get youth involved and get them jobs other ways, like far as legally. I'm not saying illegally, but I'm saying sometimes we can get the youth and other people involved in other ways as far as just giving back. Also brought up a time when we handed out toys in Turkey. These were the events that we did not just to show people that we can do it, but to show the community that we're really getting involved. You actually asked a question earlier, was stating what would be the difference between this Black Lives Matter and a lot of different Black Lives Matter. Because you said something earlier, you said a lot of different Black Lives Matter things, something like that. Maybe it was her that said that. You was asking what was the difference. I heard that said. Basically what the difference would be was that we're planning on getting involved in the streets. Like he said, we're going to be using bullhorns and having different ways of finding out what the community needs. If I'm on the streets with a bullhorn on 3rd Avenue or 149th or somewhere on Fulton, and I'm having a Black Lives Matter shirt on and I have a bullhorn, I'm asking what the community needs. And I'm out there for 3-4 hours trying to, with pamphlets, with voter registration forms, with Black Lives Matter caucus, Black Lives Caucus pamphlets, to give people information. We don't do this, and I'm being honest with you, I don't make money doing any of this. And that's the most important thing. You have to make sure that what you're doing it because you want to do it. Like you said, you got people that's going to show up for photo ops. You got people that's going to, when you have the big marches and stuff, you're going to have a lot of people who want to come, but they want to be in pictures. But it's what are you willing to do on a daily basis? Kenneth said he over here has feed the homeless program. Myself, I also help feed the homeless. I do things, I hand out blankets and stuff like that. I also help people within South Carolina, North Carolina, Dallas, Philly, Chicago, a bunch of different states. And we don't do this for publicity. If this is what you want to do, I feel like this is why I joined Hope. This is the platform and this is the movement where the Black Lives Matter movement, where we're actually getting out there and we want to get in the community. We want people to question us. Like they put up the whole tests and all that stuff. I consider myself I don't want to call it the conscious community anymore, but I consider myself a part of what I don't care about that. They mad because I'm wearing red, black, and green and associated with Black Lives Matter. I say before Black Lives Matter was formed, when I was out there in the streets protesting and people was getting killed, where were y'all at?
Right on.
That's my question. So if you want to worry about the name, we worry about the work that's being put in. And so that's why I say we want to worry about community organization. Really, the reason why I asked was everybody know what grassroots is, because really grassroots really starts with you. It starts with your brain. If you wanted to start being the type of person that wants to write stickers and write positive messages on stickers and stick them all across New York City, if you want to do that, that's positive activism. That's grassroots activism. So really, it's all in what you want to do, and we're going to be putting in work. That's why I said I hope you guys are ready, because I know I have a lot of ideas that we're going to be putting up as far as what I really bring to the table, as far as pushing out, giving out food to the homeless, and doing things so that way the community sees that we're not just in there for publicity stuff, we're out there giving back to the community, not necessarily asking for handouts. So we're going to be doing that, and I want you guys to be more involved and want to come out and put yourselves out there so that the community can see we are giving back. And when the community sees people giving back, back, guess what? They want to reciprocate that. So that's why I'm saying, as opposed to just the summer youth employment, because sometimes you can definitely get kids within that, and but that's a lot of paperwork. Sometimes you can get kids involved and just for doing it out of the love of wanting to do it. And sometimes that's even more better. So that's one of my basic community organizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to piggyback about what the gentleman said about livable wage. So Wahab said I'm a part of Democratic Socialists of America, but what I do for my day job is I'm a union organizer. And so what we would say is that I fight for $15 in the union, and we try to get out into the streets and educate people on the importance of having unions in every job, whether you work in McDonald's or whether you're a city worker. A lot of people don't realize that the black middle class was built by union jobs, and so it's important that we continue to try to build worker solidarity amongst brown people, amongst working people. That's also the key to our liberation.
Well, I know, and speaking to a lot of people, a lot of unions don't take colored people, unfortunately. And that's one of the issues, because when you walk by a construction site, when you look at the people who are working, they're all in the union, they're all white. You know, and it was funny, I was working on 93rd Street, First Avenue, building a high-rise. All the white people were working, the people that had the big rat protesting, they were all black. And I'm like, well, why are all the white people in the union working, but all the black people are the ones that they get on the picket lines? You know, you never see, and again, it's just maybe me, you know, but when I look at unions, you know, I think of A. Philip Randolph, ACL, AFL, CIO, back in the cooling quarters, trying to galvanize unions together. I don't see a lot of minorities in the union.
So there are a lot of minorities in the union. I'll just say this: trade unionists are known for shutting, people of color out. That's true. That's trade unionism. Building trades. But like I work for Communication Workers of America. That's Verizon. That's mostly a person of color union. Then we were successful in organizing 400 Cablevision workers, mostly 90% Afro-Caribbean. I've organized Verizon Wireless. That's 100% Afro-Caribbean workforces. SEIU is mostly TWU is mostly, and so there are a lot of unions that have been working with black-led organizations and trying to fight for liberation for their workers, but building trade specifically, you're right, has been not great on that.
Just to add to that, we actually joined forces with TWU Local 100 when they were fighting for their new contract, for the bus driver's new contract. We are, like I told you, we are for the betterment of black people, of people of color, of our communities. So if there are fights that we could get into on, in a real way, we could just lend our way, just say, hey, BLM and Y, we rolling with y'all, then we'll do that. You know what I mean? And some of those fights are unions, but you were.
Well, it's been so I definitely agree. It's got to be, and the problem is only those people don't get the recognition that they should get for the work that they do, but it is definitely a strong point. And you also mentioned something about some of you from coming from. So what I did for a few years is, it's just a suggestion for Black Lives Matter, is I went around to everyone that I knew and those that I didn't know that had storefronts and signed them up as some of you work sites. So as you get them as some of you work sites, it gives you more of an opportunity for your children in your community to also have a job. So that's something I did. You can go down and you can sign up as a some of you site recruiter. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if somebody.
No, we know we can do that. But my issue with summer youth, and this is maybe me personally, is our kids have to go into a lottery. If you don't get picked to summer youth, you're just out there just doing whatever. Yeah. And the jobs that they do generally are you're sitting working with kids, or you're sitting doing office work, or you are a runner. One of the things that came about last meeting was, I think Paul talked about what about those trade jobs where a person would get a legitimate skill, and if we're thinking about holding our politicians accountable, if you're doing an internship, the internship should lead to a job. If I'm trying to get my brother right here in district housing out from standing in front of the project all day, I have to give him something where you're going to go to a trade, you're going to get a job. But your job is not going to be $15 an hour, or you're going to be kumbaya. Because we all know you can't live off $15 an hour.
I'm with you, so I was just saying, so I think it probably needs to be a multifaceted approach to how do we change it as far as union goes. I'm actually in the union. I was one of the first women in heavy duty construction. I slung concrete for 13 years, right? So now I'm in 731 with a shovel. So I moved up a step. But I say that to say, I do not do, and I'm an advocate for getting more people into the union. The reason that you probably see most Europeans on the job, and on the side you see protesting is the black people, because there is a change. So now they have like the highest growth in the building trades of minorities coming into the apprenticeship programs. There's still that thing that they're working out as far as I'm actually getting the jobs, but that's where the shift is coming from. But just because I'm in the union, I wanted to also mention when we talk about trades, there are a lot of different facets of the union. Sometimes people forget about that. I know you gotta be extra, I do heavy duty. But you have all these white jobs that we also need to look at. They call them the white hard hats, right? So you have your surveyors, safety inspectors, project managers, compliance managers, environmentalists. So there are other jobs when it comes to trades that we need to start looking and doing internships with, not just trade unions, but also all those other components, especially since we are changing the face of the city with all the building that's going on.
No, totally agree with you. Oh, Mr. President wants us to introduce some people who came late into the room to give them a chance to acknowledge themselves, so everybody has a voice here. So we can go, young lady here, here.
My name is Kamla Millwood. I'm the founder and CEO of Palatial Publishing LLC. It's my own publishing company. I publish children's books, I publish video games. I also have
We tested the Facebook group. If we can come to, we were just sitting, a group of students doing a project about good life and how we decide for it.
Kamla Millwood, and I'm the founder and CEO of Palatial Publishing LLC. I own that company. It's a publishing company. I publish children's books, I publish video games, I'm a public speaker, I'm a spokesperson for Green Earth Cafe, I'm an employment specialist for Friends of Wingate Park. I also am on membership for the James E. Davis Foundation for Stop Violence. I also model, I also help to edit other people's work. I also help to go into the community, which I've been doing job training seminars for free. I've been basically noticing that within the black community, we have the lower echelon in terms of, we're all talking about trading jobs, we're all talking about these jobs where people can do blue collar work. I have a background in corporate America of 20 years. I held high positions. I, basically know what is needed in order for me to be successful. And I noticed when I did my seminar, people would come in and I would see resumes that look pathetic. You have a person's name on a resume, John Smith, and you have the email saying sexy baby 809@AOL.com. So you cannot go in for a six-figure job, which is what I was making in corporate America, with a resume like that. Then you look at the resume and you see all the typos going on and you see everything wrong. Okay, I was equipping people in the community to let them know, before you go and demand a certain figure, you need to have the skill sets here first. You need to basically know what you need to put down in your paper. And I was shocked to see with a room of 100 people, three resumes looked like something. The people cannot demand something in this world. If
That's
they're not
part of the
ready.
rebranding that we were discussing earlier.
And the thing is, I don't charge when I do this. When I do book readings, I don't charge a fee. When I go and I teach job training seminars, I don't charge a fee. Okay? My fees come from when I edit other people's works and author things of that nature. I am giving of myself within the community because I see there is a lack. I'm tired of people waiting and begging for a handout. If you want something, you take it. That's what I believe. When I wanted to become a publisher, I didn't ask permission for anybody. I opened up my own company, I did not ask permission. I'm a married woman. My husband, I didn't have to ask him permission.
Okay.
I've been my husband for 27 years. We don't do that can I stuff. That doesn't work that way. Okay? So when I notice there's a lack in the community, I don't wait around for a call from somebody to say, can I go there, can I go there? There is a lack, and I see there is a lack, and I bust the doors open and I go in. Okay? If you want the people in the community to know about what is necessary in terms of job training, I can do free seminars for this company. I can do free seminars and I can teach them what is needed to empower them for the skills that are necessary in order for them to go up there and grab the bull out of the horn. Okay? I am not a person that waits for permission, that asks permission. I know that there's a lack, and I have the skill sets, and I go and I take it. I'm a Harvard graduate. I also went to St. Francis College. I'm a Notary Public. I'm a 1 No, to the
From the
Trump
Bronx,
Tower,
from the
I
Bronx.
dressed it,
Yes,
and I
you
had on
did.
my heels,
Yes.
and the cameras were in front of my face, yes. And the cops were trying to come at him, and they were trying to get at him, and things, and they thought we were like brother and sister,
Yeah.
you know? He was talking, and I said, he's not done. Let him finish. You know, so I am not afraid of anything. So I'm willing to do the work that's needed. My schedule's crazy, but what I'm saying is if you want to put training programs together, I'm your woman and I'll put you through.
Let's do it.
That's where we start.
All right, we're gonna move on to the young lady here, and what I would just say is, when we talk about our
I'm
community,
an actress and playwright. I recently wrote my own one-woman show, The Diary of an Afro Goddess, which premiered this past summer at the Wild Cafe Theater. I've also done at the New York Poets Cafe. I was also nominated for an Adelpho Award, which is the most highest honor in Black theater in New York City. And yeah, and then I also done television. Like I started booking my first television TV stuff last year. I have like a small 15-second part in the recent President Obama movie on Netflix called Barry. And you can also catch me on The Deuce episode 6. It's a new show on HBO. I guess later this year. They haven't put the date that it comes out yet. But yes, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I moved to New York when I was ATL. Yeah, I moved to New York.
sorry about the Super Bowl, but you know.
Yeah. Everybody said, I mean, I'm not a sports fan, so I was like, but I was acting like a sports fan. So I was like, Atlanta. Then after they lost, I was like, yeah, good thing I'm not a sports fan. But
I almost cried. I stayed up.
yeah, they were heartbroken. It was tragic. My whole family had the shirts on. They all wore the shirts to church. They were like so into it. It was heartbreaking. But yeah, I moved here and I feel like, you know, my artistry is a form of my activism, but I want my artistry to like reflect my life more and a foundation to also be like empowering my people, because I can, you know, empowering people through a one-woman show and through words and whatnot, but I want to also be actually doing actions that reflect things that I believe I stand for. So.
Right. And what we're here just saying is, no matter what you can give, we will take it and we'll use it. Okay? Because we're all a part of this movement, and the movement is about changing our neighborhoods for the better. Because too long they've stayed the same year after year after year, and we always come back to the table and say, wow, what happened? And I think now, this body here, we're now charged with moving it on. And I don't think you
Really quickly before you come in, brother. I just want everybody to understand the importance of bringing your networks to the table, okay? Kamla posts jobs online. I post jobs online. I help young people, older people get jobs, people of color. Bring your talent to the table. I have a law degree. Kenneth works in voter registration. He's registered thousands of folks. Educator, dual master's degree, Harvard, Marine. Like, BLM-NY is real. And what we are hell-bent on is bringing our tools, our resources to the table. Like, just like these young brothers came in, reached out to us on social media. We got another brother who I met through social media that, you know, we like each other posting, like, okay, yeah, right on, talk that shit. And now, you know, he's at the table. This is what it's about. This is how we continue to grow.
I mean, well said, because, you know, it was the similarities, the interests, the likes, you know, what we pay attention to that really drew me into Black Lives Matter. Now, understand, my background is very much similar to, you know, I think there's a similarity on the table, community, grassroots. I humbly started in community, revamping an organization that possibly got this far. It's now known as Play. And from there, I caught the attention of local elected officials, and I started my career in politics. I did about close to 10 years of politics, both city and state. But then my last, I would say, experience was working with the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce on the Obamacare Act. Kind of like getting the information on the ground to local small businesses and families. And I gotta say, the challenges that I encountered were enormous. And I saw that it wasn't just about healthcare. It was about just the, you know, sustainable health means to me sustainable wealth, right? And so when I looked at that, that's one component capital, your human capital, and investing in that. But when I transitioned now from the Brooklyn Chamber, working with the healthcare initiative in our community. And so for me, it became a mission, a passion to educate families, educate small business owners about creating that transfer of wealth. You know, not just talking about a legacy, but having a tangible legacy to pass on. And so in 2015, I lost my dad, and so it hit home for me. You know, funeral expenses, cost of living, just being in an emotional, in an emotional collapse. You know, I started to really review the work that I do and change the way I do it. Look at how I could not just change my life, but change those around me. You know, economically, change the next generation on how they acquiesce, finances. And sometimes we find that when we talk about finance, the chip gets bigger and bigger on our shoulders, right? And you mentioned that actually, you made a profound statement on the program with Sister Soldier, I believe it was.
That was, I think it was Channel 7.
Channel 7.
Now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, don't GoFundMe. Many of our times, if you look online, when you see a lost one, a lot of times we're seeing, the GoFundMe page goes up instantly. How can we change that paradigm? How can we change the way we look at the transfer of wealth? So, as an insurance broker, as a legacy planner, I want to also extend my arm back into my community, educate, inform, and also create value for those, not just looking at insurance as no longer just a death benefit, looking at it as a living benefit.
Right.
Actually,
Great.
in these communities, in the Black Power community, and some of the more conscious spaces, and this is something I was speaking with my sister, who's also a financial planner. We need to bring insurance to our hoods, okay? This way we create inherited wealth, okay? For us to encourage people to invest whatever they may spend on gas money or their cell phone bill every month, to leave a couple $100 grand to your family, that changes Black lives all the way down through generations. This is something we need to really dig our heels in the ground on and promote this. I'm sorry.
It's very popular. It's what keeps me going every day. I'm telling you, I own my business. I live in a studio apartment with 3 kids, but I own my space. I have life insurance, and I try to make sure my credit is A1. My family, my history, they come from nothing. Not much, financially. I couldn't go to all the colleges that accepted me because my mama had no money. She damn sure had no credit. That was my first lesson there. Coming out of undergraduate school at about 20, I realized I can get my own apartment. Wow. I have my job. Wow. How come my parents can't do this? They have no credit. Nothing. So I was able to get out of undergrad and actually live my life simply because that number that America depends on was the right number. Moved into working. Wasn't making a salary that I felt like I should be making, but guess what? I sat back and I thought about it. I was like, I need to move. I don't like the way these rent prices are looking. I always had a little passion for real estate. So I did a little research, I did the math. I said, wow, we paid $300 less at the time. This was about 7 years ago. For this space, than renting. So now I'm opening my mouth speaking to my peers. I'm thinking they would join the bandwagon. Like, why are you not snatching up some property in New York City right now for $90,000, $125,000? They look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, okay, well maybe I am crazy. Who wants to be 24, 25 owning property? It's my responsibility, but hey, guess what? It's affordable right now, and I know that the value is increasing. So I might not feel like I have the career, all this other stuff, but I know I can leave this earth. My kids will be good. It's one day educated, got all these fine men in my life right now. They're going to look out for my kids, but they will have something, they will have wealth. I might miss a payment here and there, some few things, but I know that's that payment in my life insurance policy. Because I know what is leaving for my children. I know that they will have something, this little property that we have. So when I speak to my daughter about education, she's 13 and stuff like that, it's not really what people think that I should speak to my
child about, we had a conversation about what it is to be a millionaire. So what you have a million, that's not gonna get you a lot. She's looking at me like, what, mommy? $1 million not a lot of money? I'm like, child, what did you teach you in school? Yeah, I think you should take a day off today, because obviously you're not learning.
Take a day off. I love people that are here, that are on this chart, who just stand up so people know who you are. I'm Tim, you know, this is Paul.
Mic check.
1, 2, 1, 2.
We have Kenneth here, Katasia, we have Aries in the back, and Thelma. So you're looking on the initial chart, you're looking like, who are these people in the room? What are they? Who are they? This is us. And we are a part of the movement. We all are committed, and we're glad you're here because your presence here shows us that you are committed. So I'm going to pass around just which committee you're interested in. You can hand that back to me.